Moving militant because it doesn't take that much to lose. We are living in a day and age where there are a lot of fantastic things we can do with technology. That this tiny little camera can allow me to connect with you at any point in time that you choose to. Because I'm going to put it up, it's going to be on the internet for as long as the internet exists. Beautiful thing. But it also means that it's never been easier to be distracted. Moving militant means having that ability to lock in. By locking in, I'm going to give you practical examples um, that are really personal, and so you'll know that it's real. Yesterday, got up at 5 because I usually get up at 5, and I got up with a purpose. Right, last week was really academically a very slow week. A lot of training was being done, a lot of training, a lot of eating, and all that good stuff. But moving very slowly in progressing and in creating the things, the scenarios, situations that I wanted to create because I am writing on Friday, this Friday, right? It's Tuesday as I'm recording this. This is going to come out on a Wednesday. I give you that context to say last week, academically slow, physically fantastic. Um, was not feeling fantastic in all body parts at all times, but great like way to put your head down and grind. That's what I'm giving self the pat on the back for. While doing that, managed to clear out the schedule so that all that I have to do is focus on what I have to get done now and focus on that execution. And when I say moving militant, it is because it does not take that much to lose. The personal example is today, girl's number got deleted. Is she a bad person? No. But I realized very quickly that she's not what I'm looking for. And you get into these situations where me on a normal day in a normal season, I wouldn't even notice these things, or I would notice them, but you kind of make excuses for the person. You're like, man, maybe she'll adjust, maybe she'll learn to this, that. Not to say that people we're looking for are perfect, not to say that I'm a perfect person, because I'm not. But there are those fundamentals that you must not be willing to compromise on if you're sincerely looking for what you say you're looking for. And so she got cut out. Normal seasons does she get cut out? Probably not. But it's wartime. Wartime means vision and mission over everything. Wartime means we're gonna lose sleep. Wartime means we are going to actively pursue what it is that we want to pursue because we did not come this far just to break down and quit now. I'm a winner. I'm going to win. And what that looks like I said, relationally, you get a lot more focused. Once you apply that militant mindset, once you get into wartime, it's not something that I personally can limit to one part of my life. It's something that for me seeps into every other part of my life. So relationally, you'll find that there are people who are given the benefit of the doubt who won't be given the benefit of the doubt anymore. Friendships, networks, circle wise, there are people who were given the benefit of the doubt who won't be given the benefit of the doubt in that season anymore. You know, you may be a cool dude, and we may kind of form something at some other point in time, but right now, based on the way that I'm engaging, your energy is not where my energy wants to be, and so we can't vibrate together. Love to see you eat, not necessarily at my table. And then, of course, last week got everything done that needed to get done in order to clear up my schedule, meaning there were assignments that were due this week, already done. There were ICE tasks that were due this week, already done, just so that I have nothing to focus on now except for the execution. Um, and yesterday was not even preparation for the test I have forthcoming. It's for the one coming at a later stage. And what you'll find, and this is the big difference. This is the differentiator between myself and my competition. Because I'll tell you about this. Yesterday, a very cute little miss. She is the competition. She may be ahead but not necessarily, because she has won by larger margin, but that's a situation where we've both succeeded at the highest level, but you just succeeded like a bit better than I did. But there were situations where she practically not failed, but in terms of our standards, was below that standard, and I still hit, round about where I was supposed to hit. And so it's there, the competition is tense. So there's some poking back and forth. And within that, yesterday, there's a conversation of, oh, you're not showing up to this thing. And I'm like, it's leg day. Daddy's gotta do leg day. Sorry. And then she claps back with, oh no, that top spot's mine. I'm like, we'll see about it, you know. And what I knew at that time is what I know now, which is there may be these things and they are great tools and I may apply them at a later stage. But what I realized, and especially when I did tap in, is that, oh, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be, which is a very broad based um, thing that they were doing a bit of a masterclass. And for them, it's to go deeper down into those basics, of which the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in, especially in the subject that we're going to be attacking this week, is because I have mastered the basics, because I had no basics. I had no I had no previous misconceptions. I had no fundamentals going into it, and so I've mastered the fundamentals. And for me now, more so than a repetition of the fundamentals that I've already been doing at a very high level, which I repeated today, of course. Got up at 4 o'clock. Um, they before today, yesterday. It was a 5 o'clock. Realized 5 o'clock wasn't enough. Got up at 4. Tomorrow I'm getting up at 3:30. May get up at 3 the next day. Because what you have to realize, and the reason why the military posture is so necessary, is because there is a very limited time in which you can have what you want to manifest. And within that limited time, you need to execute. And that execution may mean, an example. I always, on a large scale, I sleep 8 hours. By and large, I sleep 8 hours. I do wake up 5 a.m., but I try to be asleep by 9. Try and get my 8 hours in. Right now, probably gonna push that down to 7, 6. But what one would not realize is the immediate pushback would be, no, but you shouldn't lose sleep. It's like, yeah, over a long period of time, but in the now, I'm still in a place where cognitively I can recover from doing such things, and I can still push quite hard and use the time that I have productively. And there's such a thing as a productive use of time. Going back to the masterclass example, that thing was maybe 5 hours long. In that 5 hours, what exactly did they cover? Mostly the bare bones basics, of which that's 4 or 5 hours that I could have been putting into what I needed specifically. The gaps in my knowledge is what I could have been filling, which is what I believe I almost like. It's almost to a miracle level how much progress I was able to make in that, just by sitting down. And if you think about the amount of hours spent to the amount of knowledge gained, I spent a lot more time than I did gaining knowledge, because I did practice and stuff like that. But it's what you'll realize is, after about 5-ish hours of focused effort, you do hit a stride. You hit a stride, you're doing well, you're structuring well, you're figuring things out. That 5 hours happened for me yesterday, even though it was a different subject. Just that cadence of, okay, we can cook, we can work. The issue is that mostly happens for people the day before. The day before the test. That 5 hours is usually the morning of the test, and then by the time they've hit that cadence, it's too late. They have to go to sleep and they have to go to write the next day. And so, in my mind, the reason why the military state of mind, the military time, is not only a necessity but is a possibility, because because last week, not much academic time, bit of you can call it downtime, even though there was like hard, heavy work being done. It wasn't specifically a focused work on that particular subject. Why does that work? Or how would that concept be applicable? Like, how does that make sense to do? It's like, well, if you look at Eddie Hall, when he became the first man to deadlift 500 kgs, the week of the deadlift, he didn't deadlift. The week of the deadlift, he didn't deadlift at all. And leading up to it, it was a decreasing in volume so that you can peak on the day. And it's that concept of peaking. In bodybuilding, they have it as well, where you will train super hard, but the closer you get to the show, the more it is about refining. The more it is about the freshness, and that's how you hit that peak. And so you're not making progress. You're not making any new, like, there's no new information that is going to change the larger scale outcome that you're going to gain in the last day of the test. Now we're talking about deadlifting in the last week. We're talking about bodybuilding. We'll say in the last month or so. You kind of want to slow down, and you kind of want to make the body come in as fresh and as full as possible, right? Okay. In terms of academically now, that repetition, that filling in of knowledge gaps, that happens way before the time. I wasn't at yesterday's masterclass. Caught up on it today. Didn't like what I saw, and I did my own thing. Normal class time, like actually in person class, I haven't missed a single class. This year, I've missed a class. And so the war was won before we've even come close to this day. And you're focusing up for a week before, or you're focusing up 2 weeks before the test. And you're thinking that, wow, because I focused 2 weeks before the test, there's going to be a marginal difference between what I do and what this person's able to do. What you don't realize is that the war was already won. And now it becomes a competition of refining. And that competition of refining, that in terms of test time, my belief, that week before, that's what you need. If you have covered every single base of the content, and you've identified weaknesses within your own knowledge, and you fill in those gaps, that's all you can do. That's literally all you can do, is just make sure that they can't ask you anything that you don't know how to answer. Even if you don't know everything in depth, if you know how to answer everything, like even if there's no one thing that you know super in depth, except for the obvious, like calculations, this, that, the third. Like obviously you need to, and that's the practice, that's the time, that's the war that's already won. But when it comes to the acute performance on the day before, you might as well not even pick up a book. I'm joking. But you're not going to make any major leaps and bounds that day. That day is for sharpening as much as you can, like literally sharpening, making sure you repeat. And another important thing that I can give as a tool as well is memory, or rather the ability to recall, is more important than repetition. More important than repetition is repeated recall. That's how you remember something and you form something as something that is a tool for you, or that you can access at any time. It is not by having it said. And that's why classes will only get you so far. You know, sitting and watching someone do will only get you so far. It is about the ability to, at will, command the information to come forth. And so that's why it helps to hear something, you say it back, you're recording. You hear something, you write it down, it's going through your mind when you see it, when you hear it, it's going through your mind as you're writing it. The more times you recall information, the more access that you're going to have to it. And the reason for moving militant, the reason for putting the mission and the vision over everything is because it really doesn't take that much to lose. It really, really doesn't. You know, we've seen plenty of great men. I for one, definitely have seen many, many people who put themselves in a very strong position to begin with, but then they're not able to finish. It's not about the score at halftime. It's not about the score 10 minutes before full time. It's about that final score. The day you become content, the day you settle, is the day you die. Is the day the person who's trying to catch you is going to catch you. And so we're moving militant because it really doesn't take that much to lose. And so yesterday was 5. That's regular. If you want to do something that you've never done, if you want to have something that you've never had, you're gonna have to do something that you've never done. If you want to do something you've never done, you're gonna have to become someone that you've never become. And so it became 4 today. Tomorrow, 3:30. Looking at the time now, we might turn that into 3 o'clock. And that's not just time spent fluffing around. I mean, we could all get up at 3:30 and do whatever. When I tell you there were breakthroughs made today, and the reason for it is because there was enough time spent with the content to find myself, what it is that I know, what it is that I don't, and find ways to study that. Find the right questions to ask of oneself to identify those gaps first and foremost, and then what to do to fill those in. Yeah, gents. I don't know how many times I need to say it before you understand that you need to have that in you. You need to have that gear where you just cut everything that is not the mission off. Um, and the mission for me, I mean, you could say, okay, you're saying cut everything that isn't the mission off, then why are you still going to the gym? It's like, well, in my mind, that hour, 2, 3 hours even, probably 2, but if you factor in like the showering, transport, everything, that 3 hours that I'm spending there, if that's all it takes, if all it takes is 3 hours a day to ruin my study schedule, I don't have a study schedule. If the problem in my life is that I'm taking care of my mental well-being and my physical well-being by getting in there, anchoring myself in reality, if that's what is off with my day, or if I think that's what's off with my day, then I question my own evaluation. Because what other time am I spending? Who am I spending it? What am I spending it doing outside of that? Does that make sense? Yeah. Wartime means only friends. Um, Wartime means no fluffing around with the girls. Wartime means that you're gonna come through and you're gonna do what you have to do just to get where you want to go. Because at the end of the day, if there's one thing that we know is true, it is that effort is cute. Effort's adorable. Effort is applauded, but execution is worshipped. If you did in fact enjoy today's video, please do hit that subscribe button. I have been Sage, standing on business. Signing out.